Good afternoon. Welcome once again to the Gain Line, Wales Online's live rugby debate show. Andy Howell is here with me as we discuss the Wales Six Nations squad, which has just been announced. And fair to say there's one or two surprises in there. As ever, we want your input, so please do get your comments and questions coming in. Andy, where do we start with all that then? Four uncapped English-based players. A couple of guys, some of us in the office had never really heard of. Nick Tompkins, Will Rowlands, the Wasps lock. To talk us through your reaction to that.
Both some big surprises, though. Tompkins did break overnight, so which give us a chance to prepare. Will Rowlands has come from nowhere. You know, people we've been checking on his background. Apparently he qualifies for Wales through his father. He's played about 50 games for Wasps. Big lump, big unit. But what's interesting to me in that one, they picked him even though Wales are quite well blessed with locks, with Alun Wyn Jones, Jake Bull, Corey Hill, Adam Beard. So, you know, certainly surprised. He's 28 as well. So, they must think something of him to have him in.
Yeah, Pivac must have seen something in him during his time at the Scarlets. And he was Wasps player of the season last year, I think, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. And, there's obviously people, the Gala Premiership is a good competition. You've got to be a good player to play there. And, of course, Players Player of the Year. And who was his lock partner at Wasps? Joel Hornsby is one of the best players around. So that says something about this guy must have ability. Nevertheless, it would be a huge surprise, I think, if he played against Italy on February the 1st. I think there's a lot more chance that Nick Tompkins will play in that game.
It's been the problem position that we've been talking about, different ways they might fill it. George North maybe going there, Josh Adams, but he is an out-and-out 13, a guy with good pedigree, 100-odd games for Saracens.
Well, Saracens are the best club in Europe, European champions. I mean, technically they're still the English champions, despite their breaking the salary cap and getting done for that. But, to me, Saracens could win Europe this season. Yeah, he's played 100 games, made his debut for him at 17. He's a World Cup winner with England at under 20 level, 2014. And who was one of his teammates? Ross Moriarty.
Yeah, there's a picture of it.
Mario Itoje was captain of that squad. So, yeah, he's got a good pedigree. You've got to be a good player to be playing for Saracens. And looking at his squad, there's every chance, I guess, that he could make his debut. Apparently he's qualified, I think, from a grandparent from Wrexham.
Wrexham, that's right, yeah. His grandmother was from Wrexham, I believe. And the other two we've quite heavily trailed, really, over the last couple of weeks. Louis Rees-Zammit, obviously the youngster, the 18-year-old. We'll talk a lot about him, I'm sure, over the coming weeks. And Will Griff-John in the front row. Yeah,
well, let's start with Rees-Zammit. Based on form and ability, in my opinion, he's got to start against Italy.
He's been unbelievable, isn't he? First,
he's just fantastic. But I have covered his games. He's played at under 18 level, and you could see then that he was star material. I think you can forget his age because he just knows how to play the game. He is so comfortable, he's so fast, he's evasive, knows where to be in the right positions, he's got a heck of a lot of skill. And if he does get capped, he'll be 18, 19 the day after the Italian match, so what a birthday present. People say, he's too young to play, but come on, he's older actually than George North would have been when he's made his debut. Much the same as Lee Halfpenny and some of the greats of Welsh rugby, were capped at a younger age. Now, what I've seen of this boy, I think he's got the potential to become a great. And my argument always is, if you're old enough, you're good enough, whether you're 18, Rees-Zammit, or the 34 of Alun Wyn Jones.
Indeed, or if you're good enough, you're old enough.
Thank you, John, for
That's
that.
All right, no props. I mean, for every player who gets a positive phone call at times like this, there are those who don't get one. Quite a lot of fairly big names who are not in the squad, a couple with injuries, but people like Nicky Smith, Samson Lee, Bradley Davis from the World Cup squad, James Davis injured, Aled Davis, obviously Rhys Webb has come in at scrum half with him. Sam Davis, who's been playing so well for the Dragons, doesn't come in. And Owen Williams is in instead of him, obviously after coming back after that 9-month injury. Is that quite surprising?
That Owen Williams perhaps is there's an outside half in the squad. He's an outside half who can play centre. He's only had 2 games since a horrific injury, but he's just really good in both those games. He played for Wales at 12 a couple of years ago, and I thought there was every chance he'd be in the squad after seeing how well he played last weekend. And there's still a possibility he could play at number 13 because he's certainly got the footwork and the versatility to do that sort of job, which James Hookett did in the past as well. But Sam Davis, he would have had high hopes, perhaps staying there. He's played well for the Dragons. I'd say myself, though, he has been inconsistent. So I'm not totally surprised that he's missed out this time. The ones to me, the big one, the news here is Nicky Smith, Samson Lee didn't go to the World Cup, but both those lads have, plunged on the pecking order. Nicky Smith went to the World Cup as probable first choice loosehead prop, slipped down at the World Cup behind Wyn Jones, and now he's out the squad altogether. Plus he's paying the price as well for the Ospreys' poor season.
Yeah, well, nobody's playing particularly well there, are they?
Yeah.
And just maybe to touch on as well the youngsters we saw in November for that squad against the Barbarians, Tane Basham, Shane Lewis-Hughes, Ollie Griffiths, they're not in there, and Thomas Young, as we always seem to say at this time of year, has also been left out, the Wasps player as well.
Yeah, Thomas has been playing well, mind, for them.
Yeah.
He's come back, mind, from some injuries, but he's been playing well. I'm not surprised that Basham and Lewis-Hughes and Griffiths was injured again, same as Alan Amos, injured again. Those boys are injured so often. I'm not surprised these youngsters are not in, because I think they were in for the game with the Barbarians to have a sort of look at the scenes and all that. They certainly guys for the future who will have big futures, but this is Six Nations, and maybe deadwood's the wrong word, but I don't think they want to be carrying too many players who won't have any chance of playing in this tournament. Of course, they can still call them in for training, don't know, if they want to look at. So not surprised at them. Steph Evans, didn't expect him to be picked either.
No,
even though
Pivac wasn't a massive fan towards the end of the
his time at the Scarlets. Same with Ashton, who was in the Barbars squad, missed out. Alec Davis hasn't, another suffered at the Ospreys.
Yeah.
So and some people were critical of him, his performances when he had a bit of a go to.
Obviously, Rhys Webb. Let's talk briefly about Rhys Webb. We've talked about him for 2 years, even though he's not been part of the Wales setup, but he is now. So maybe there's more of a reason to. He's in the squad, but very much third choice. Do you think? He hasn't played rugby, I don't think, since November the 9th or something like that.
Well, you would have thought so, but if he does show up in training significantly and is in great shape and all, Rhys Webb is a class act. You cannot you can't discount the possibility of him then being picked. However, politically, I think that would be a difficult decision to pick him as a starting scrum half, maybe on the bench. Why I say that is because that he's still playing actually outside, or still with the club outside Wales, the 60 cap thing, and people there could promote disharmony in the squad if you were to pick him immediately with other players who think, well, I've stayed here.
Well, of course, they've been there for 2 years, yeah.
So, it could upset a few people.
In terms of the public, a sense there's a bit of indifference maybe about Webb's return, whereas when he left and was a victim of the 60 cap rule, there was despair. But I suppose we've had Thomas Williams and Gareth Davis has done very well, and Thomas Williams has really come through.
It's a classic case, isn't it? Out of sight, out of mind. And people haven't seen Webb playing much because he hasn't played much for Toulon, and even before this falling out with Toulon, he wasn't first choice anyway. They're one of the French scrum halves Baptiste Arones. So his game time has been limited, but let's stress now, it is best that Rhys Webb is a class act who was a catalyst for Wales. However, Gareth Davis has improved while Webb has been away, and Thomas Williams looks a potential Lions 2021.
That's the one.
Starting scrum half in the making.
Yeah.
So Webb has probably got ground to make up.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk Italy then. The first game, February the 1st, Wales against Italy. You've been picking what would be your starting 15. We should emphasise that rather than what you think Wayne Pivac will go through. New faces in the squad as we talked about, but you've gone pretty much for a bit of a tried and tested. Hopefully it'll pop up on the screen shortly. The interesting selections, Louis Rees-Zammit, who I think you alluded to, you want to see him start very much.
Yeah, I've been on it, back in his case for a couple of months, and other people I see now are jumping on that bandwagon. And I think he should start, because I think him and Josh Adams are Wales' best wings. So that's, to me, that's a no-brainer. He starts. Go Lee Halfpenny at fullback. Johnny McNichol's been out injured.
Yeah. And
missed some important rugby. And ironically, after he was picked in the squad against the Barbarians, his performances have actually gone off a bit. I'm a big fan of McNichol.
Yeah, the interesting selection there, or one of a few. Owen Williams, you've got it outside centre.
Yeah,
talk us through that one.
Yeah, I had him there before Tompkins become available. So
stuck to your guns.
Yeah, but I'm going to stick to my guns, because I think Owen Williams can easily play in that position, because he's such a.
You've always been a fan of him, a skillful player.
Yeah, he's a skillful player, and he's got really good footwork, and he's an athlete. He glides over the ground and covers it, and I think he's got the vision and the footwork to be able to play at 13, especially defending, because it is different how you tackle people at 13 to near to on the inside when you've got less time. and space. So I think he could adapt to it. So I think it'd be interesting to see how he goes in training and him and Tompkins, and it could come down to that.
Yeah, you've got Jared Evans at 10 rather than Dan Biggett. Is that because it's Italy? Would you be saying the same if it was England first up?
Perhaps not.
Okay.
Yeah, I've gone with them because I thought he was dynamite against the Barbarians. I've gone for a regional partnership with Thomas Williams. I think it's important with the insurance of Gareth Davis and Bigger on the bench.
Yeah.
Ireland second match away, you could start with Bigger and Davis or Webb in that match, but I think it's no disrespect to Italy. I think Italian rugby is improving, but Wales should win this match, and I think this is a chance to experiment, and that's why I would play people like Rhys Sammet. Give Jared Evans another go, and Thomas Williams, as we said, is a great prospect, and these are guys who can create tries, and against Italy as well, Wales are going to need a bonus point from this match to win the championship. So let's unleash these boys, because the World Cup, okay, it's 4 years time, but that will come around quickly, and there's a lot of old players in this squad, so Wales need to bring people through, so give these guys a go now.
Yeah, okay. We'll move on to some questions, I think. Good to see Talupe Faletau in your team and back in the squad before we do that, though, isn't it? What a player he is, what a miss he has been for the last, so it's nearly 2 years now, isn't it, since he played for Wales?
Yeah, I tag him with myself. He's been Wales' best player the last decade. Just a fantastic player. One of the world's great number 8s, and there's been plenty of them. You just got to look at his pedigree, his track record, his consistency. He is just a top performer, and it's great to see him back in the fold.
Yeah, okay. A couple of questions here along similar themes that have just come in from Mark Evans and Neil Ridley. George North. Does George North deserve to be there, says Mark? Neil says, why pick George North?
Well, he's in the squad because he's George North.
Yeah.
And his experience. He's hardly played since the World Cup, and he took a knock in, I think he went off in his last game. So, North's in the squad, because it's George North. He's a huge name, and if you like, perhaps he's there because of his past reputation. But to me, it's all about form and fitness, and he hasn't done enough to be in the team. But I would have him in the squad because he can also cover centre as well. So, I wouldn't dispense the services of George North completely, because what we want to see is George North get back to his best, because at his best he is such an handful.
Back in 2013, wasn't it? Which is a long time ago now.
It is, as Warren Gatland said in his book. George was on the verge of greatness then, but he's regressed a bit, but less. He's had a heck of a lot of knocks and hamstring trouble and these sort of things can drag you down.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, another one here from Mike Bailey, in reference to your team for Italy. No Josh Navidi, he says, with a big question mark. Best back row for Wales in the last 18 months. Why doesn't he make your team?
Well, I disagree with that, because Justin Tipuric is absolutely world class, as people will know out there. Tipuric is one of the best players in the world and might have gone on the All Blacks team. I don't think Navidi would have gone on the All Blacks team. Navidi, love him to bits, Mr. Consistency, what a reliable player, hasn't got perhaps the finesse of Tipuric. But again, Wainwright was that good at the World Cup. Gatland, who's the Lions coach, is tipping him to be a Lion, perhaps a Test Lion. So, why would you get rid of Wainwright now? As I said about the other young guys, Italy, great chance to give him another go. Josh Navidi, we know what he can do. So maybe against Ireland, where you need a lot of jackalers and that, maybe you start him against them.
Yeah, okay, a couple more to finish off then. One for Craig James. Is it right that we're overlooking Welsh-based players for all these English lads who weren't even born in Wales, he says, in reference to a couple of the names we've talked about?
I can understand his concern, because Wales have got this 60 cap rule. One player is to stay at home and all, so there will be boys in Wales now. Your likes of ones who missed out, your likes of Steph Evans and Samson Lee. And they might be thinking, well, what's the point of staying in Wales then? If Wales are suddenly start going to pick in a lot of players from outside Wales.
These players have been in the English system from pretty much the start, haven't they? And I suppose this might encourage them to come back, because if they remain part of the Wales setup for years to come, when their new contracts are up, they'll have to return under this rule if it is still in place. Yeah,
for sure. So it will encourage them. But then you look at someone like Will Rowlands. Obviously, we don't know what deal he's got with his club, but say he's got a 4-year deal. By the time that deal finishes, Wales might want him. Maybe it's into his 30s then. But I can I think Wales have got to be careful. You've got to about sending out the right message. I don't think you're going to go mad about picking loads of exiles. especially ones that come through other systems when it is good players in Wales. So
there's no doubt it's going to be a different Wales squad, a different atmosphere in the squad, isn't it? When everyone turns up, they've had Gatland there for 12 years, a totally new coaching regime, a lot of new players now, a different vibe about the place. Do you think that might impact on Wales's tournament? Which leads us into Steve's question here from Steve. How do you see Wales doing this year with all that in consideration?
Yeah, I think it might give Wales a good vibe, actually. He's shaking it up more than more than most pundits expected. This is a big shake-up. In some ways, you could argue, this is as big a bombshell, this squad. Some of the people he's gone, as any squad won Gatland picked.
Yeah.
There's a lot of surprises in this squad. So there will be new players. They've got to get to know each other and all. But some of those guys are going to come into the squad now. They're going to be busting for it.
Yeah.
So it should give Wales a good lift ahead of the Six Nations. You look at our fixtures. England are my favourites because they've got the continuity. They've dominated the World Under-20 Cup. Loads of those players coming through. Really, they should dominate the Six Nations. Wales play them at Twickenham. Key for Wales, good start against Italy. Ireland have got some good young players, but they are Dad's army as well. Got old guys like Sexton, Conor Murray and all. If they stick with them, they are beatable. Though they are, I don't think Ireland win the tournament, but they are capable of a couple of big scalps. So that second match is key for Wales, Ireland away in Dublin. If they get through that match, Wales could really get on a roll and they could end up winning the Six Nations again. I'm not ruling that out at all. I know people say, Wales, new coach, changes and all. But don't forget, apart from England, every other team really is in transition.
Yeah. I suppose you wouldn't rule any of them out, though. England could win it, Ireland could win it, Wales could win it. France is a big good vibe about France at the minute with Sean Edwards and a lot of young players.
And of course, who did France play first? England in Paris. Huge game. It wouldn't surprise me if France beat them in that game, but I wouldn't. France have got a lot of young players, and I don't think they're quite ready yet. Give them another 2 years, and they host in the next World Cup. I think they're going to be really good, but I think they will lack the consistency. I think the title really is going to be between England and Wales this time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it'll all unfold over the next 6 or 8 weeks. Thank you, Andy, for that. Thank you for joining us, and thanks for all your questions and comments. We'll be back again very soon, and you can follow all the latest rugby news over on Wales Online. See you next time.